The investigation into the deaths of Dr. Spencer Tepe and Mo'Nique Tepe has shifted from a manhunt into a cold, calculated legal pursuit of an assassin. On Friday, January 16, 2026, a Franklin County grand jury in Columbus, Ohio, handed down a 5-count indictment that fundamentally changes the narrative of this case. Dr. Michael David McKee is no longer just a person of interest or a man facing a preliminary murder charge. He is now officially indicted on 4 counts of aggravated murder and 1 count of aggravated burglary. For more true crime stories like this, hit the subscribe button. For the layperson, aggravated murder is the highest, most severe homicide charge under Ohio law. It signifies that the state believes they can prove prior calculation and design. But it's the fine print of this indictment that has sent shockwaves through the legal community. Tucked within the charges is a firearm specification that changes everything: the use of a firearm muffler or suppressor. In plain terms, prosecutors believe Michael McKee didn't just bring a gun to North 4th Street. They believe he brought a silencer. This revelation solves one of the most haunting mysteries of the early investigation: how 2 people were shot multiple times on the 2nd floor of a quiet home, yet the 2 toddlers sleeping nearby and the neighbors next door heard absolutely nothing. The use of a suppressor is a devastating blow to any defense strategy. In many states, including Ohio, a silencer isn't just a movie prop. It is a highly regulated item that requires federal registration and a deep-dive background check. To bring a silenced weapon to a home in the middle of the night suggests a level of tactical planning that moves this crime away from a domestic dispute and squarely into the realm of an execution. It shows a killer who didn't want to just commit a crime. He wanted to ensure he could slip away into the night before a single 911 call could be made. The 5th charge, aggravated burglary, is equally critical. By charging McKee with burglary, the state is alleging that he trespassed into the Tepe home with the specific intent to commit a felony. In Ohio, when a murder is committed during the course of an aggravated burglary, it acts as a capital specification. This means the prosecution now has the legal foundation to seek the death penalty. Investigators are still grappling with a major unanswered question. How did he get in? There were no signs of forced entry. Did he still have a key from a decade ago? Did he bypass a security system he was familiar with? Or did he simply wait for a moment of vulnerability? The indictment suggests that his mere presence inside that home, armed and intent on harm, was a violation of the right to privacy that was explicitly laid out in his 2017 divorce decree. To understand how we got here, we have to look at the man behind the scalpel. Michael McKee was a vascular surgeon, a specialist in the intricate network of veins and arteries. To reach that level of professional success, you need more than just intelligence. You need extreme discipline, precision, and the ability to remain calm under pressure. He spent 15 years in a grueling educational pipeline: Ohio State for undergrad and med school, a residency in Roanoke, Virginia, and a fellowship in Maryland. But as his career soared, his personal life was a quiet disaster. He married Mo'Nique in 2015, but within 2 years, the marriage was in ruins. In May 2017, Mo'Nique filed for divorce, stating simply that the parties were incompatible. While the divorce appeared amicable on paper, she got out quickly. He kept the house in Virginia. Spencer Tepe's family has hinted at a darker reality of verbal abuse and control. The most sketchy part of McKee's timeline, as revealed in recent court filings, is his time in Nevada. In the months leading up to the December 30th murders, McKee wasn't just working, he was vanishing. He was a named defendant in a 2024 malpractice lawsuit involving a botched catheter procedure at Las Vegas Surgical Associates. While he wasn't the one who performed the procedure, he was responsible for training the staff involved. The way McKee responded to this lawsuit was highly unusual for a professional surgeon. Process servers tried to find him 9 times starting in September 2025. In one instance, a server heard a TV on inside his house, but the moment they knocked, the TV was clicked off. The house went dark. He was hiding in his own home. Even more alarming, his own employers in Las Vegas told authorities they had no idea where he was, and that he had simply disappeared. His Nevada medical license was allowed to expire in June 2025. Attorneys in the Nevada lawsuit have gone on record stating that the address McKee provided to the surgical group was a fake address. This suggests a man who was intentionally decoupling from his life and professional responsibilities months before the crime. Why? Criminologists look at this as a potential narcissistic break. While Mo'Nique had built a thriving new life with a successful dentist and 2 beautiful children, McKee's professional life was under fire. In the mind of a high-functioning individual like a surgeon, the loss of status and the threat of a malpractice suit can be a catastrophic blow to the ego. If he felt his life was falling apart, he may have redirected his rage toward the person he blamed for his original failure, Mo'Nique. While McKee was vanishing from Vegas, he resurfaced in a luxury condo in Chicago's Lincoln Park. To his neighbors at the Pierre, he was a pleasant man they'd see at the pool or the barbecue pit. But while he was making small talk about the air and water show, he was allegedly stockpiling weapons. Following his arrest at a Chick-fil-A in Rockford, Illinois, a takedown executed by federal ATF agents, police searched his 12th-floor penthouse. They found multiple weapons, but one stands out. Chief Elaine Bryant has confirmed a preliminary knee-beam link between a firearm found in McKee's home and the 9mm shell casings found at the murder scene in Columbus. Everything comes back to the video. The hooded figure in the alleyway, walking with that distinctive pigeon-toed gait. Police tracked that figure to a vehicle that arrived shortly before the murders and left shortly after. That vehicle was registered to Michael McKee. By using license plate readers, LPRs, and highway tolls, investigators have reconstructed the 7-hour drive from Illinois to Ohio, a journey they believe was a one-way trip to commit an assassination. Michael McKee is currently sitting in the Winnebago County Jail, having waived his right to an extradition hearing. He is a man who spent his life learning how to repair the human heart, now accused of breaking the hearts of 2 families and leaving 2 toddlers orphaned. As the logistics for his transport to Ohio are finalized, the focus moves to the Franklin County Courthouse. The silence of the scalpel has been broken by a grand jury indictment. The prosecution has the gun, the car, the video, and the silencer. For Michael McKee, the surgeon who thought he could operate in the dark, the lights are finally coming on. For more true crime stories like this, hit the subscribe button. After a week of holding in the Winnebago County Jail in Illinois, the logistics of justice have finally aligned. Michael David McKee, the 39-year-old vascular surgeon once known for his steady hands in the operating room, has been transported across state lines to face the 5-count indictment waiting for him in Columbus, Ohio. Having waived his right to an extradition hearing on Monday, January 12th, McKee's return was not a matter of if, but when. As the transport vehicle crossed the Ohio border, the reality of the situation solidified. This is no longer a localized domestic tragedy. It is a capital case with national implications. McKee's arrival at the Franklin County Corrections Center marks the beginning of a legal siege. For the family of Dr. Spencer Tepe and Mo'Nique Tepe, his presence in an Ohio cell is the first tangible step toward a closure that has felt miles away since the morning of December 30th. The atmosphere in the Franklin County Court of Common Pleas for McKee's initial appearance was heavy. Gone was the professional attire of a medical specialist. In its place was the standard-issue inmate jumpsuit. As the judge read the charges, 4 counts of aggravated murder and 1 count of aggravated burglary, the weight of the firearm suppressor specification hung over the room. The prosecution, led by the Franklin County Prosecutor's Office, made their intentions clear from the first minute. They aren't just looking for a conviction. They are building a case for the maximum penalty allowed under Ohio law. The formal reading of the indictment served as a grim reminder of the precision of the crime. By alleging that McKee purposely, and with prior calculation and design, caused the deaths, the state is signaling that they have the digital and forensic evidence to prove this was a mission, not a mistake. The most critical moment of this initial hearing was the battle over bond. In Ohio, while most defendants are entitled to a bond, the state can move for a no-bond order in cases of aggravated murder, especially when they can prove the defendant is a significant flight risk or a danger to the community. The prosecution's primary argument for denying bond rests on McKee's behavior in the months leading up to the murders. They pointed directly to the Las Vegas malpractice lawsuit. McKee didn't just move to Illinois, he vanished. He missed 9 attempts at being served, used what attorneys called a fake address, and allowed his medical license to expire. To the prosecution, this proves McKee has the skill, the resources, and the history of going dark. A man who can disappear while being sued for malpractice is a man who will certainly disappear when facing the death penalty. As a vascular surgeon, Michael McKee had access to significant financial resources. Even with his professional life in flux, the state argued that his ability to secure funds and cross state lines, as evidenced by his 325-mile trek from Chicago to Columbus, makes him a uniquely capable flight risk. They argued that no amount of money could guarantee his return to court when the stakes are literally life and death. Perhaps the most chilling argument involved the targeted attack nature of the crime. Prosecutors highlighted that McKee allegedly bypassed his 2 young children to execute their parents. They argued that his obsession with Mo'Nique and Spencer had reached a level of lethality that makes him a threat to anyone associated with the Tepe family or the ongoing investigation. The use of a silencer, suppressor, was brought up not just as evidence of premeditation, but as evidence of a professionalized approach to killing that suggests he is far more dangerous than the average domestic offender. While McKee has yet to secure a permanent local high-profile defense team, his preliminary counsel argued for a high cash bond rather than no bond. Their argument centered on his lack of a prior criminal record and his years of service as a physician. They painted a picture of a man with deep ties to the region, having attended Ohio State University for both his undergraduate and medical degrees. The defense's strategy is likely to hinge on the circumstantial nature of the evidence. They will argue that a vehicle seen on a camera and a pigeon-toed gate are not enough to strip a man of his liberty before a trial. They may attempt to frame the ballistics match as preliminary and contest the validity of the Nebin database hits. However, in the face of 5 felony counts and a double homicide, these arguments face an uphill battle against a prosecution that has the momentum of a grand jury indictment behind them. While the lawyers argue in court, the detectives at the Columbus Division of Police are continuing to fortify the forensic fortress. We now know that the ATF played a major role in the ballistics testing. The 9mm firearm recovered from McKee's 12th floor Chicago penthouse has been undergoing exhaustive testing. Investigators are reportedly looking at McKee's E-ZPass records, cell site location information, CSLI, and even the infotainment system in his vehicle. Modern cars are essentially black boxes that record GPS coordinates, door openings, and even when a phone connects to Bluetooth. If McKee's car checked in at a gas station in Mansfield or Dublin, Ohio, on the night of December 30th, the timeline becomes an unbreakable chain. One of the most emotional aspects of the no-bond argument is the welfare of the 2 children left behind. Aged just 1 and 4 at the time of the murders, these children are the ultimate victims of this silence. The prosecution argued that the trauma inflicted upon them, waking up in a silent house to find their parents gone, is an aggravating factor that demands the defendant remain behind bars. The fact that the killer had the mercy to leave them alive is being framed by the state not as a kindness, but as a calculated part of his surgical plan to eliminate his adult targets without the interference of crying children alerting neighbors. A status hearing is currently scheduled for Friday, January 23, 2026. This will be the first major check-in after his arrival in Ohio. At this hearing, we expect to see the formal entry of a private defense team if he moves away from the public defender, the setting of a discovery schedule where the state must turn over all their evidence, including the silencer specifics and the ballistics reports, a potential ruling on the state's no-bond motion. The road to justice for Dr. Spencer Tepe and Mo'Nique Tepe is long, but as Michael McKee sits in a Franklin County cell, the Vegas ghost is finally where the law can see him. For more true crime stories like this, hit the subscribe button. In the modern era, the perfect crime is an endangered species. While Dr. Michael McKee may have utilized his surgical training to ensure the crime scene was devoid of biological evidence, he could not hide the digital ghost of his vehicle. As he sits in a Franklin County cell, the Columbus Division of Police, in coordination with the ATF and federal cyberforensics units, is assembling what investigators call a digital noose. This part of the case doesn't rely on shaky witness testimony or blurry faces. It relies on the cold, hard mathematics of GPS coordinates, cell site location information, CSLI, and electronic tolling. Here, we break down the three technological pillars that the prosecution will use to prove that McKee was the man behind the wheel of that car. Columbus Police Chief Elaine Bryant has been explicit. The vehicle was the key. Detectives didn't just find a car in Rockford, Illinois. They tracked a 325-mile journey through 3 states. The backbone of this tracking is the license plate reader LPR network. These high-speed cameras, mounted on police cruisers and highway overpasses, act as an automated net. When McKee's vehicle, identified through neighborhood surveillance on North 4th Street, was entered into the National Crime Information Center, NCIC, the hits likely came in chronological order. We know his vehicle was located in Rockford, Illinois. To get from his ritzy Lincoln Park condo in Chicago to the Wineland Park neighborhood in Columbus, he had to take major arteries like I-65 or I-70. Every time that vehicle passed under an electronic toll or an LPR-equipped bridge, a time-stamped, geolocated record was created. The E-ZPass records are even more damning. Unlike a camera that might miss a plate in a snowstorm, an E-ZPass transponder pings with surgical precision. If McKee's transponder hit a toll in Gary, Indiana, at 11 p.m. and another in Richmond, Indiana, at 1:30 a.m., the prosecution has a speed and distance calculation that puts him on a direct path to the murder scene. If the car is the body of the evidence, the cell phone is the soul. Investigators have obtained a search warrant for McKee's cellular records. Under the Carpenter versus United States standard, police now have his historical location data. Every time a phone is on, it is constantly whispering to the nearest cell tower to ensure it has a signal. Even if McKee didn't make a call or send a text, his phone was likely performing background data refreshes, checking emails or updating weather. Each of these creates a cell site location information, CSLI, record. In Ohio, CSLI is a powerful tool. Prosecutors can plot these pings on a map, showing a device moving sector by sector from Chicago into the heart of Columbus. If the pigeon-toed figure in the alleyway is seen on video at 3:15 a.m., and Michael McKee's phone pings a tower 3 blocks away at 3:17 a.m., the coincidence defense evaporates. The defense will likely argue that the phone was in the car, but was McKee? However, when paired with the car's movement, that argument becomes a legal Hail Mary. Perhaps the most overlooked piece of evidence is the vehicle's own brain. Modern vehicles, particularly luxury models like those a surgeon might drive, contain an infotainment and telematics system. When a phone is synced via Bluetooth or plugged into a USB port, the car often downloads call logs, contacts, and even text messages. More importantly, these systems record events. They record exactly when a door was opened, when the headlights were switched from auto to off, and when the car was shifted into park. If the surveillance video shows a car idling in an alley with its lights off, and the car's internal computer shows the lights were manually disabled at that exact GPS coordinate, the link is unbreakable. This Burla forensic data is often more accurate than standard GPS because it integrates with the car's actual mechanical movements. Investigators are looking for a digital dead zone. It is common for sophisticated offenders to turn their phones off or put them in airplane mode as they approach a crime scene. However, this often backfires. A phone that has been pinging consistently for 5 hours and suddenly goes dark 30 minutes before a murder, only to reappear on the network an hour later heading in the opposite direction, creates a location by omission that is often more suspicious than the pings themselves. The digital search extends beyond location. Police have seized McKee's laptop and personal devices from the Pierre in Chicago. They are looking for obsession breadcrumbs. Did he look up Spencer Teep's dental practice? Did he search for the layout of the North 4th Street home? Did he use a VPN to hide his IP address while cyberstalking Mo'Nique's social media? As Chief Bryant noted on January 14th, the community tips were tremendous. But it is this convergence of physical and digital data that allowed the ATF to move in for the arrest. The prosecution isn't just saying Michael McKee was there. They are saying every device he owned, every toll he passed, and every tower he hit says he was there. Michael McKee may choose to remain silent in court, exercising his Fifth Amendment rights. But his car, his phone, and his GPS have already begun to testify. The digital noose is tightening. The surgeon who spent his career understanding the flow of the human body forgot one thing. In 2026, the flow of data is just as vital and just as impossible to stop once it begins to leak. And as always, you've been watching True Crime Story Vault, where every story is told with facts, empathy, and respect for those who can no longer speak for themselves. For more true crime stories like this, hit the subscribe button and comment your thoughts below. Until next time, remember, the truth is never buried.